Up, interview of Raven with John Gallagher, fourth part. So, we are in 2017. Joe Hasselvander had to leave the band after a heart attack. He's then recording some solo albums where he plays all instruments. Did you listen what he made? And do you have some news about him?
The last I heard, he's working on new music. A friend of mine's heard it. I've heard maybe 2 tracks, and they're great. Joe's incredibly talented. Not many people can pull off when he does those solo albums where he just sits and plays the drums and then plays everything else on top and does it. He's, there's a lot of people playing music that's kind of doomy, but I think Joe has a unique take on that. It's more cinematic, is how I would put it. It really creates an atmosphere, So yeah, it was a great shame, but he'd been talking about dialing things back for a long time. He didn't really want to be out on the road all the time. So
Merde.
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button there and it went off. Okay, we're back.
It's not me.
Sorry. Yes, so looking back at it now, it was probably the best for everyone. Joe had.
You talk about cinematography.
I think he kind of had enough of playing out live, and of course his health was not great, and that obviously scared the hell out of him, having a heart attack, as it would, scared the hell out of us. So he had a heart attack 2 days before we were due to go out and play 4 shows in America, and then a few days later play a 12-day tour of Europe. So we were freaking out, because when it's that close, you can't just say we're not coming, you have to try and make it work. So a guy I knew, I asked, and he managed to get a guy to fill in for the first American show in Chicago, a guy called Jimmy Mess, who did a great job. And then he had this other guy who would do the 3 other shows, called Mike Heller. Didn't know him. Yeah, he plays with Fear Factory, what have you. So we met Mike in New Jersey, talked for about half an hour about the songs, and went on, played for an hour and a half, and it was like unbelievable. He charted everything out and was just and it was like, why are you playing that like that? He goes, well, that's what's on the record. Improvise. He goes, really? I goes, yeah. And play faster. Really? Yeah. So the next show was 100% better than that. And the next show was 100% better than that. We were playing like we'd been playing for years together. It was so good. And we said, well, we're going to Europe. I know you can't do that. We got another guy filling in for that. But when we come back, let's talk. So we did the tour with Hyrax in Europe, which was great. We had a guy called Dave Chadwick who was playing with the opening band and did a great job. But we'd made that connection with Mike, and when we came back, we talked to him and said, do you want in? And he said yes. We played him some demos of stuff we'd been working on, so we got moving on that, and from that would have been June of 2017 until December, we played over 150 gigs, and just in that time frame, which was crazy. So that really brought it all together, and somehow in that time period as well, we'd started work on doing, at least we got the drums done on the first album we were going to do, which of course was Metal City.
Okay. So 2018, I saw you at Marseille opening for Saxon. You only played 30 minutes, while the set of FM seemed never ending, it's my opinion. Don't you think it was a better idea to switch with them?
Yeah. I don't know whose idea that was. I think somebody thought it would have been a bit much having Raven and then having Saxon. So they wanted to and then bring it down so that Saxon could come in hard after FM, you know. Not our tour. We were just happy to be playing with Saxon, you know. And the FM guys were great at what they do. They're fantastic. They're professional. They're great guys. Great stories. So it was a great tour for us. It was a lot of fun. We'd in 2017 we played with Udo and toured. God, they did 50 dates and they had so many days off. We were able to do another 20 in between. So they play on a Sunday and then not play till Wednesday. We'd play the Monday and Tuesday. We'd get gigs all over. We'd do that. So playing with Saxon was a continuation of that. We'd come to cities and see people who'd bought the T-shirt from the last time and get a better reaction than we did the first time. And it was really, building things up. Great shame that we ended up, of course, getting the pandemic not too long after that. But we love Saxon. We're big fans. I mean, I saw Saxon when they were Son of a Bitch back in Newcastle back in 78 or something. Jeez, so they're great guys and a great band. So it was awesome for us. We loved that.
Okay, and on the same tour, 2018, you made the date with Saxon at Lyon, and I've seen in my research and I found an interview you gave to a friend of mine at this show, a short interview, where he asked you the question in French. Do you remember this or not?
Oh no,
No? Okay. I send you
of,
the link if you
that's a
want.
lot of time and a lot of shows ago. So and a lot of interviews too. So
Okay. So, the first recording with Mike Heller is the live album Screaming Murder Death from Above live in Aalborg. Was it a way to introduce him to the fan with some already familiar songs?
it was a good idea to do the album to introduce everyone to Mike. So you got Mike playing the older songs, and you see the difference, and it pointed to where the album Metal City was going to be, and how that came about is we were playing Aalborg in Denmark, and after the show, the sound man gave us. Do I have one handy? Not really. One of those like a thumb drive thing, and said, "Here, I recorded the show." And Mike went, "Oh, okay," and put it in his pocket, forgot all about it. And we were having difficulty because Mike was working on his studio. It was going to take a little longer before we could release the album. I said, let's put something out in between. Let's put a live album out. Do we have anything? And he found this and he played it and he goes, oh my God, there's one problem with it. I broke a bass string in the middle of Hell Patrol. So I broke a string, kept singing, put the bass down, got another one, and kept playing. So there's like a 5-second gap. He says, that's all we got to fix. Everything else is great. It's like, okay. Listen to it. Mike did the mix, did a great job, and got a great package together, lots of cool photographs. So it was a good time to do a live album because, it's like, how many years? 95, 2005. It's like over 20 years. So long overdue,
Okay. Okay, so we arrive in 2020 with Metal City, first album with Mike Keller. To be honest, I wasn't completely convinced after the show with Saxon because his modern side seemed too far for Raven. But listening the album, it works good. He seems to be a motor who boosts the band. Was it difficult to find how to work with him at the beginning or not?
No, the process of recording was different. You know, we've been old school for a very long time. You know, you go in as a band and play basically to get a good drum track, and then if you have to fix the guitar and bass, you fix them or redo them. And I was saying, oh, I'm going to get a studio, and Mike's like, nah, I do the drums in my own studio. I'm like, oh, click track? And he goes, yeah. And our only experience with click track was the Pack is Back, where there's one tempo. Now, if you listen to a band, they start at one tempo, they may get faster, then slower, then faster, then slower, then faster, then it's up and down. It's human. And Mike, along with other people, I guess, figured out a way to do that, where you listen to the song, go, okay, I'm going to start at this tempo. It feels good to bring it back just a little. And then the solos come in. It's the exciting part. Push forward. And there's a breathing and up and down. And he explained this, and I'm like, here's some guitar. Show me what you mean. And he did a riff for Top of the Mountain, and I was blown away. I was like, I don't care how you're doing it. Do that. Do more of that. That's fantastic. And so what he did is we did what you'd call scratch guitars. We'd do that, give it to him. We'd work on the arrangement a little. He'd do a track and say, what do you think? And we'll go crazier here, make it simpler here, try this, you know, try a different beat here. And he'd try stuff, and we'd all come to an agreement. And then we went, you know, we were actually ended up, we were on a cruise, the Monsters of Rock cruise, and Michael Wagner was on the cruise. And we said, Michael, would you mix our new album? And he goes, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned out that Mike was building a studio in Los Angeles. And Michael got in touch and said, when are you going to have the tracks ready? I says, well, probably, and this was in early February of 2018, I believe. You know, when are you going to get the tracks ready? Oh, probably May, June. He goes, I'm going in the hospital for a major operation, and I might not even get out, you know. Can't you do it quicker? I says, he hasn't got his studio built. And Michael just said, well, come to Nashville. Like, okay. So 2 days later, we were in Nashville. And, you know, Mike came down, and we had the drums, so we did the guitars, the bass, and the vocals, and it was wonderful working with Michael again, you know. And that's one of the last productions he did before he retired. He did that there. And the mix wasn't great. We ended up putting the mix out to various different people, and got one guy who did a decent job on it. And it wasn't 100% the way we wanted it, but it sounded really good. So we went with that. The energy of the music was undeniable, I think. And we'd done the same process we'd done when we did Extermination, but more so, where we were hypercritical and listen to the song and go, is there anything in the song that rubs you the wrong way? Could this part be better? Does this part need to be in there at all? Could we add something? And we'd try stuff until we got it just the way we wanted it. And that's been the process, like I say, ever since Extermination, of really working hard on the parts before recording. You know, it's like designing the house and getting it right. The other part is basically just putting the bricks on, you know, bum, 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 bum. You build it up. You've got an idea. We always leave a little bit of space, however, for improvisation. It can always be like, try something else right at the end. Guitar solo or guitar, try something else. Vocals, try singing higher. Try, let's do a choral part. Let's change, you know, let's just see what you can come up with and experiment a little bit. And because sometimes that can be the magic part for the song, you know.
Okay. You talked about Michael Wagner. I have he produced many albums. I have a doubt. Do you remember if it's him who produced Chameleon of Halloween?
The what?
The Halloween album Chameleon. Is it Michael Wagner or not? I have a doubt.
Chameleon?
Of
What?
Halloween, the German band.
I don't. Which one?
Chameleon.
No. Yeah, it sounds to me like you're saying comedian. I don't know who
No,
that
no,
is.
no. But well, not important. Okay, so for the album Metal City, I've read that Mike was involved on the art direction. Can you explain what does it means?
Well, we were looking for an idea for a T-shirt, and Mike said, well, you know, why don't we do like a superhero type of thing, you know, like running at the camera. And we got a guy to do the art, and the guy was a typical art director, you know, he wanted it to do it his way. And we were like, no, that doesn't look like me. That looks like somebody else. Draw it like me. No, that looks like you. You know, it's like, anyway, we had this rough idea. And then we went to a couple of other artists who were a little more receptive to our ideas. And the idea was, let's come up with, you know, like a comic book, like an old DC or Marvel comics, and put all the little bits on and have the crazy adverts. And that came that whole concept of having us, like, you know, ridiculous superheroes and having the comic book stuff inside. And it was a great package. It worked out really well. And a lot of those ideas were Mike's. Yeah, he came up with that. And, you know, we all put all, I did the little drawings of the adverts where it had like a hand with the fingers off and the symbol with the buzzsaw and the tape recorder. I drew all that stuff and it came out really well.
Okay. So at this time, in an interview in an interview in Metadian, a French magazine in 2020, the journalist asked you to compare the drummers who played in Raven, and you answered that they are all crazy. For you, who is the craziest member, past or present, of Raven, and can you explain why?
Oh dear. You mean the craziest out of the three drummers? All drummers are crazy. They're all nuts. We've been incredibly lucky to have three very talented guys, mainly, you know, and before that too. I mean, Mike Kenworthy and Sean Taylor, very talented guys too. But we had three talented guys who are musicians. They're not just drummers. They've had musical ideas. So, you know, Rob was very inventive. Joe's very solid, very powerful. And Mike brings a bit of both. And scary technical ability. He can play at any speed whatsoever. It's just like, it's crazy. And, you know, he's very diligent. He'll warm up for an hour beforehand, before the show. He's very aware of what he needs to eat before the show. You know, you can't eat too close to the show. It's got to be just so. And it's like an athlete preparing for what he's going to do, you know. And the energy and the playing of that is what he does is crazy. It's really out there. some of the things is just like, how the hell is he playing that? I don't know. And it's inspiring, you know, it inspires us to do the best we can on what we're doing too. So it's all a matter of personal choice, but we're very happy right now, that's for sure.
Okay. So 2023, All Hell's Breaking Loose. Like Metal City, this album is very good, but with the new energy, but short, lasting about 38 minutes, while most of previous albums are longer. Is it due to trauma of your sets opening for Saxon?
What was that last part?
Is it due to a trauma of your sets opening for Saxon who are too short?
I'm not following. Are you talking about the length of the album?
Yes, it's about the lasting of the album.
Yeah, I mean, we did Extermination, which I think was too long.
Okay.
It was too long of an album by about 2 songs. It's good, but you want an album, you know, like back in the day, the Montrose, Van Halen. You'd have 10 songs, boom, 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 and you'd be like you were punched, and then you want to listen to it again. You know, a lot of albums, as soon as they brought CDs out, it's like, you've got 85 minutes. Oh, well, let's write endless amounts of songs, which could be just filler. It's like, who needs it? You know, you wanted to make a statement, not write a story. It's great to have that if you've got a narrative, like a concept album, and you want to tell a story with that. That gives you the space to do that. That's great. But some of the more recent albums, they would be double albums in the old days. It would be a double vinyl. Absolutely. It's so long. It's like, do we really need, you know, a 10-minute ding, 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 whatever? So going for the excitement factor, we decided on Metal City to do an album of 10 songs, about 40 minutes. And that's how it worked out. And it worked so well. We got All Hell's Breaking Loose. Same thing. Let's try to keep to that formula, because you can get your attention span around it, you get your head around it, and the songs have got a lot of depth and the bare repeated listening. I remember quite a few years ago, not that I'm a huge fan, but my wife had bought Red Hot Chili Peppers. They did an album called Stadium Arcadium, and it was a double CD.
Yes.
And it had some good songs on it. But to this day, I've never listened to the whole thing. It's too long. Too much. You didn't need all that, you know? It's crazy. So I just figured this, making a statement of that 40-minute mark, 10, maybe 11 songs, boom, makes sense. For our style of music, makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. And in the same idea, do you think the Use Your Illusion of Guns N' Roses is too long too, or not? The
Of what?
Guns N' Roses, Use Your Illusion.
Not following.
Uh, I'll tap you in the chat.
Okay. Send me one. That's a good idea. Let's get to chat. Here we are. And it's coming. I'll have a cookie while you're waiting.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a bad accent.
And they split that into 2 albums.
Yes.
And each album is too long.
Okay.
However, I love both those albums. They're great, but they are too long. Yeah, that's because, you know, Axel being Axel, he wanted to have November Rain 90 minutes long and Estranged 90 minutes on these big overblown epics, you know, which is cool. But you listen to the first Guns N' Roses album, like boom, 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 you know, that's what created that legend, you know, that's what it was. It wasn't the 10-minute piano ballads.
Okay, so your last record is the EP Can't Take Away the Fire, with 5 new tracks and 3 lives of different eras.
Yeah.
How did you choose these ones? And did you want to have the 3 drummers on the same records?
Well, we wanted to, you know, Mike moved. He moved from Los Angeles to Texas, and he's still in the middle of rebuilding a new studio, even as we speak. But he has a recording space, so we can work around it. But we knew we weren't going to be able to have a new album done as quickly as we wanted. We wanted it done and out last year. Wasn't going to happen. So we said, well, let's do something small. Let's do an EP. EPs are cool. People like EPs. Well, it turned out the distributors and the record companies don't like EPs because the cost of an EP for them to make is the same as the cost of an album. It's just shorter amount of material. So they have to sell an EP at a smaller amount of money so they don't make as much money as they would on an album. It's just like, ugh. So we had to fight through for that. And then they said, well, can we have some older material on? Do you have some of this or some of, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So how about we give you 3 live tracks? An early one, a one with Joe, and a one with Mike. And they liked that. And that made it 8. So they could tell themselves they were selling an album instead of an EP. Crazy. But it's fun. There's I think it's Don't Need Your Money. It's from a show we played with Judas Priest in 1984 in Rotterdam. And the crowd is unbelievable. And then there's a version of Architect of Fear with Joe from 91 when we toured with Running Wild. And then I think it's a version of The Power with Mike. So it's, it's extra little goodies for people. And the artwork comes off the All Hell's Breaking Loose thing where there was some spiders at the bottom and we brought the spiders to life, we're fighting the spiders, and some crazy artwork. I love it. And the new songs really point to where we'll be going with a new album. It's just more crazy, more melodic, good structure. And the one song that really stands out because it's different is The Wreckage.
Yes.
Which
6
is like
minutes.
It's almost like a Led Zeppelin slow blues or something, you know. It's a little different. And we had a great time doing that. And it was something I had from playing guitar. I'd be playing this, where is it? Where's it? Just a finger picking thing I was doing. And I thought, what if we did it loud? So the bass is going, and the guitar is going, where are we? With the octaves, and it would sound orchestrated and huge, and it worked out really well as a demo. And I played it to the guys. I said, "Yeah, let's work on that. Let's do that."
Yes, and these songs lasting 6 minutes, if I not wrong. It's rare for Raven. Most of your songs are about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, that one. When you've got a slower tempo, it immediately makes a song longer. Obviously, even if you've got a similar, similar structure. I mean, we try. Sometimes it goes a little crazy, but we try to have a verse, bridge, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, middle eight, solo. We like a traditional structure because I think that gives people a foundation, and then you can mess with it, put crazy parts in and twist it, because then it's got more effect. If you're just doing crazy twisted stuff all the time, then you need to be playing in Return to Forever or Mahavishnu or something, it's, which I love. That's great. But that's musicians' music, that's a different headspace. We're trying to do, hard rock, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it. That, so there's a kind of a traditional structure, but then we want to mess with it. We want to put the left turns in and make people go, whoa, where did that come from? And that's where it gets fun to do that,
Okay. So, regarding your next record, it seems you have started to work on it. What can you tell about this one now?
Well, I've wrote an awful lot of songs. I wrote 80, and we're not going to use them all. There's, you have an idea, you follow it through, and at the end you listen back and go, it's okay. Or you listen back and go, it could be great if we change something. Or you listen back and go, wow, I love it. And immediately listening through these, there's about 15 to 20 that are really, really great. And that's a good ratio. I'll take 25% or whatever, or 20%. I'll take that. That's great. And that gives us, we're playing them to each other and thinking, what 10 would you pick out of that? What 10 would you pick? And we get a consensus, and we probably work on that 15 to 20 to a point, and then review again and say, okay, these are the ones, because what would be a good opener, and what would follow that, and then is there one, if we want to have an epic-y song, I've got like 5 or 6, what would be the good one for that, And with this process, we've already went backwards and forwards with the arrangements. They're pretty much locked in. The vocals, we've got the lyrics, we've got the vocal patterns, they're pretty much locked in. So it's a question of, first off, we'll do some scratch guitars, and Mark will put his personality into the playing on them. I mean, there's about 10 or 15 that he's actually wrote out of these, so they'll be the easy ones to do first. And then the other ones that I've done, he'll listen and work on it and come up with his own way of doing stuff. And that way Mike can feed off what Mark's doing rather than feed off what I'm doing, because once he plays, then it's wrong. It's got to work that way. So we're going to be starting doing that like next week. So that's exciting. And get that together. But yeah, I've been listening through, and it's like I did a lot of the songs before I had my accident last year, which was a bleed on the brain. So it probably affected my memory in that I was looking at the titles and nothing made sense. I couldn't remember hardly any of them, which is actually good because I got total perspective. I can listen fresh and go, oh, that's good. I like that. So that's helped a little bit, to be honest.
Okay,
But I'm
so
excited. There's some, you know, some really exciting stuff, some great melodies, some very progressive parts that are pushing that big time. You got a song that sounds completely normal, and it goes whoop, goes off somewhere nuts for a little bit, and then it'll come back. And in one or two cases, it just keeps going nuts, a little bit different. So I'm excited to push these further up, you know, to get them finished. It's going to be good.
and about your accident, how are you doing now? Is it finished or?
I'm doing good as far as that. I mean, we had all kinds of tours planned for last year, and we had to cancel them all. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do this one festival, which was in October, and I'd had the accident in August, and it wasn't going to happen. The guys were like, nope, you're not going up there. It's not going to happen. I'm like, okay. And then I got the offer to do this thing with Cliff from Tank, the loads of the new wave of British heavy metal, which is a fun thing with a bunch of guys I know, like Cliff and Carl from Diamond Head, and Carl from Persian Risk, and Tino from Praying Mantis. And they wanted to do a show in London, rehearse, do a show in London, and do a couple of shows in Japan. Now that, compared to playing with Raven, was a lot easier. You know, I'm just playing bass, bit of backing vocals. I sung 2 songs, not so much stress. And I figured, well, let's see if I can get well enough for that. And that was in January. And I did that, and I was okay. I was fine. It wasn't bad. And then we did the full tour of the States starting the middle of March. And that was tough. The first few weeks, that was tough. I was good with the shows, but afterwards, I was just completely exhausted, you know. So the hardest thing has been building the stamina back. But that was thrown in at the deep end, and after about, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks, it got easier. Got easier all the way through. But it was a fantastic tour for us. It was really, really good. And right when we finished that, then we went over to Europe and we did 14 dates over there, which was also really good. So I'm doing good. I'm very surprised to be doing as good. I'm very, very lucky. And there doesn't seem to be any great after effects other than, you know, basically lying down and doing nothing for like 2 or 3 months doesn't help your health much at all, you know. But you have to do that in order to heal your head. Because the doctor said, you know, you want to fly? You can do that. You want to play your shows? You won't be able to. You don't have the strength. But you don't have the strength. Your body is sucking all the energy to fix this, you know. And he was right. And it's just a question of it taking time. But I'm good. I'm doing good. You know, thank God we're in there. And because of that, I'll be pushing even harder. We need to do more. We need to get out there. We got more music to do, and we're doing it.
Okay. So we arrived at the end of this session. I suggest a little cut and new link in 5 minutes for I
Sure.
think the last part.
Very good.
Okay.
I'll watch out for that. You got it.
Good.